What is an idea that you think most people get wrong?
That government is against you. That government's not here to really try to help. And let me preface this: local government.
Hmm.
We fall victim to some of the opinions of our bigger government counterparts without really people understanding that we are the closest connection to providing you some essential basic services, and that most of the people that work in local government do it because they really want to help and they have a heart of service and they want to make the community better.
What the hell's going on out here? All right, everybody. Once again, thank you for coming, watching, tuning in.
Mhm.
I don't
What
know
do
how
you
to
do on
start these things
podcasts?
really yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another episode of Fueled by Spite. As always, I am your host, Dr. Taylor. Today we have with us Leslie Knope, if you will.
Yes. Mhm.
How quickly did that joke get old?
I still think it's funny,
Oh,
and
okay.
I
Well,
loved Parks and Recreation. I thought it
delightful.
was a great show. Some of my closest girlfriends just refer to me as Leslie Knope, so
Perfect. Okay. So,
especially when I was the deputy director of Parks and Recreation, because I literally was Leslie Knope.
that was, I did not know that.
Yes.
I was unaware. That makes
Yes.
me feel even better. So in all reality, Candice Edmondson
Mhm.
of the city of Richland Hills, Texas. What's your title now?
City manager.
Okay.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
Um, what I like to say is that it means I manage expectations a lot. But essentially, I am hired by the city council to manage and oversee the day-to-day operations of the city, to make sure that council's policies are being executed, and making sure that our projects and our budget align with our community goals.
So this meeting, if you will,
Mhm.
was almost kind of by happenstance because I don't know that I know anyone who does what you do, and I say that in the with the best of intentions. I personally didn't grow up wanting to be a city manager.
Mhm.
Did you?
No. And
How'd you get here?
and honestly, I didn't know a lot about local government because I grew up in rural Parker County, where if you wanted to build a fence, put up an accessory structure, you had the lay of your land to do what you wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
So land use and policies and regulations governing, the built environment in a city was very new to me. I kind of fell into it myself. I always have had a heart for public service. I wanted to join the Peace Corps
Same.
for a while. Yeah. Uh, you
Public
know,
service and private practice.
yeah,
Sorry, not
same
to
thing.
interrupt. Carry on.
But after I graduated with my bachelor's degree from the University of Texas, I thought I wanted to go to law school.
Mhm.
And I worked for an attorney for several years and realized that no, that was not really the life that I was looking at wanting to pursue. And I had friends in Austin who were getting their master's degree in public administration, and many of them were going into administration of nonprofit organizations. And so I applied at the University of North Texas, kind of moving back home. And their MPA program is heavy in local government. So a lot of my base coursework was in local government, and the paid internships that we were required to pursue were also in local government.
Okay.
And I was very fortunate to get selected to be the intern for the city manager of Southlake, Shauna Yelverton, in her office. And
La-ti-da, South
yes,
Lake,
Southlake. And it
Texas.
really opened my eye to what local government does and how essential it is to providing quality of life to a community.
Okay.
And so I fell in love, and I enjoyed that every day was a new challenge and that we were solving problems and we were serving residents. And it was really fun every single day to go to work. And so from there, I worked for the city of Hearst for 3 years in their community services department. I went back to Southlake for 9 years in their community services department, and then was kind of recruited to be the assistant city manager in Richland Hills, and a year later became city manager.
Okay. So, from Minnesota, have always lived since I've been in Texas. Have always lived in Tarrant County.
Mhm.
Where's Parker County?
Just west. It's your west neighbor.
Oh, very
Yes,
well.
we're bordering neighbors. Weatherford is probably the
Okay.
biggest. It's the county seat in Parker County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Um, so you loved to go to work every day.
Mhm.
If I could bring this back around real quick, we're probably gonna touch on this a bunch. Um, the city council meetings in Parks and Rec,
Mhm.
similarities based on truth, bending of the truth.
There have been similarities. I am very fortunate right now to have a council that has a united vision for the community. So, for the most part, our council meetings are very smooth. They basically agree on kind of the direction that we're going. And I spend a lot of time trying to make sure that our council's informed and prepared before we enter meetings. But that to say that there are times when the residents don't understand an initiative or a project or have concerns, and sometimes the meetings can get a little more lively. But yes, there were some similarities, and we would always giggle at some of the antics in Parks and Recreation because we've seen it.
I imagine. And this was again a little more happenstance in that I had zero intention of doing this like during an election with things
Yes.
ramping up, and not to ask about any sort of policy or platforms that
Mhm.
you may stand on. And feel free to dodge this question. Where do you stand on chickens?
Oh, well, Richland Hills is very pro animals.
Okay.
And that has been for a long time. And it's what our residents love about that community, that you can have chickens and horses and small cattle and goats and sheep. I think you can have all of these. I think the only thing you can't have is a pig. So it's for being a small city in the middle of a major
Sure.
metroplex. We do have some areas that have larger lots, and livestock are welcome. And growing up in rural Parker County, I love livestock.
It's
So
just again just things you don't think about growing up.
Mhm,
I didn't think about the hot button issue that would be your ability or inability
mhm, to have
to
chickens.
house a certain number of
Mhm.
chickens. So for any of you who are not local that are watching this, just just Google North Richland Hills and chickens.
Yeah.
It's been interesting news.
Yes.
Um,
For those communities that didn't already allow that, and then when the state legislature changed this year, I know they're kind of scrambling to figure out how to
just
manage the chicken population.
it's so weird. Like these are the decisions
Yes.
among
We're
others
forced to
that
make.
we are making. So actually in that same vein, not the chicken vein, but just decision making, if you will. So three different municipalities,
Mhm,
South Lake, Hearst, and now Richland
mhm,
Hills,
correct.
managing expectations.
Mhm,
It seems like you would have been struck with a lot of situations in which you were given an opportunity, you were given a decision, or heck, maybe you just made a decision, and there would be people like, "There's no way that you can do that. There's no way that you can get," to use lingo, "get this referendum pushed
mhm,
through," or tell us about a situation that you've been in where you wanted to do something or you felt something needed to be done, and you had a bunch of detractors.
mhm,
There's no way that can happen,
mhm.
Candace. There's no way that's gonna work.
So I would say, or we actually have a situation right now in Richland Hills that I would say kind of fits the scenario. We are doing a corridor master plan for the Glenview corridor. We share a border with North Richland Hills right there on that roadway. They've been building the City Point development for several years now, and we want to redevelop our portion of the Glenview corridor to complement that and really be kind of an economic engine for Richland Hills. Master plans are difficult concepts
Mhm.
because they're very future minded, they're very visionary. They essentially are just concepts that you can take, and figure out which parts you want to implement, and kind of helping our residents understand what the master plan is. Even some of our council members,
Mhm.
understand that this doesn't mean we are 100% committed to some of the concepts in this plan, but it's providing us a roadmap for the future, has been a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
And so there's been, we've had to take a few steps back and slow down the process to make sure that we're fully explaining and educating all of our stakeholders about why the council sought to do this. I mean, it really is to help with future development. We've received questions from developers and businesses about our future plans for that corridor because they want to know that the city has a plan in place before they're going to invest their dollars.
Right.
And that's essentially what this is getting us. So there's been a lot of concern and confusion about what the master plan is or isn't. And so, I really am hopeful that we've kind of gotten everybody somewhat on the same page.
Question with that, kind of on topic, but off script, if you will. Oh, I like the way that just rolled off my tongue. Because from a healthcare standpoint, and you've seen this also, it's my job to tell people what the future looks like or what the plan is. Now, the easy part of my job as compared to yours is I'm having one-on-one conversations.
Mhm.
You're having one-on-many. Do you find it common, for lack of a better word, that people have a tenuous grasp on just even the ability to think into the future?
Mhm.
Because it seems like that's in city planning and managing, and this corridor project. I can understand what you're talking about, but then if people, especially in the government too, I imagine people are just, if they're not in it, they're just getting little snippets here and there and making snap judgments on what, like, ballpark, how long is this plan supposed to take to come to fruition?
I
Years, I
mean,
imagine.
oh, a decade, it
Yeah.
could be. I mean, you've got to find the right partners that want to go down this journey with you.
Mm-hmm.
The city's not going to buy up property and, redevelop it or buy up more land to expand the park. There's infrastructure improvements that the city needs to do that are very costly.
Mm-hmm.
And with a plan like this, we can take it to our council of governments, our regional council of governments, and they can help us find the programs and funding to do some of these improvements.
What do you think would be any any maybe tips or tricks or just things that you might have come across, in your pursuit of all this,
Mhm.
to help people to help people see into the future?
Mhm.
Because again, some people I mean, it's America in a nutshell. Now. Well, this isn't a now
Yeah.
project. This is a decade-long project.
Mhm.
How do you make how do you make people see the vision?
Ugh. I don't know that that's really that easy.
Nope.
It's not. You
It was
know,
a good
it
question
is a
though.
good question. And it really all goes back like everything to communication.
Mhm.
And it's how we're communicating about it, it's what we're communicating. We got to make sure that we're communicating through all the different channels and avenues. But really, when I've had the most success, it's when I've been able to sit down one on one. And I really do try to open myself up to our residents and our business leaders. I'm always welcoming of in-person meetings to help explain the council's vision and the direction the community is going, because then I usually find that they have a better grasp, and the things that they were concerned about, they don't really aren't concerned about anymore because now they have the knowledge and they understand, you know, the goals.
Do you think how many if you just throw a percentage on it, how many people do you think leave those conversations feeling better
Mhm.
because they have more knowledge versus somebody took the time to actually explain it to them?
Oh, well, first of all, how many people actually take the opportunity is probably a better question.
Oh,
Because that is not as
yeah.
many as I would like. But I would say,
I didn't even
mm,
intend to set you up for that, but I bet that is
yes,
100% accurate.
yes. I would say 95% of the time they leave. There may still be aspects of it that they don't like,
Mhm.
but they understand. And
Yeah.
they are always appreciative of the time that myself or a council member or staff took to explain it to them.
And this I like that though. Like, if they just
Yeah.
take the time to ask. Oh man. So relationships, huh?
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yes.
I mean, and this kind of feeds right into this next one here, because also too, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, government has been around for a while,
Mhm.
right? Okay, cool.
Oh, yes.
But it would stand to reason that there's still just um almost daily, probably weekly, but maybe just daily occurrences where there's a goal in front of you or a plan in front of you, but it's never been done before.
Mhm.
So can you talk to a point where you might have had to basically just lay the path in front of you? Just you had to either find a way or make a way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we do that often. There are challenges that come up that don't always necessarily fit within, our rules and regulations, but that really to provide the best service to this resident or to really help them, we've got to get creative.
Mm-hmm.
I would say in Richland Hills, a lot of it is the funding challenges. And just where do we get all the dollars to make the improvements to the community that the residents and the council want? And a lot of that is through partnerships and seeking grant opportunities and just really spending the time trying to find those ways to deliver the services and complete the projects that are important to our community
Okay. Without raising taxes on chickens.
without raising taxes
Seriously,
on chickens.
look at it was such a hot button issue of absurdity from my standpoint. So now kind of gave you a kind of an outline, but spoiler alert, I'm going to go through some fastballs here.
Okay.
I want you to just
The first thing that comes to mind.
one
Oh
of
boy.
those rapid fire things. So give me a person you'd like to trade places with for a day.
Julia Roberts.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Beginning of the movie or end of the movie?
I love her. She's very classy.
Guilty pleasure.
Reading. I love reading. Is that guilty
It's
pleasure?
what?
I don't know.
The worst guilty
I don't
pleasure
watch
ever.
any TV, barely.
Same.
So I don't know. I
My
go to
guilty
reading.
pleasure is expanding my knowledge.
Coming to
So
you,
lame.
it's like the one thing that I do once a week for
Stop.
myself. Okay, a massage.
Fair enough. Worst advice you've ever gotten?
That sometimes the answer is no, because I don't believe that.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Like in general or just in public service?
In public service more. I don't think you should ever lead with a no, this can't happen, because there's always something that we usually can
Oh,
do.
I like that.
Yeah.
Don't lead with a no.
Don't lead with a no.
What's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
One time my mayor told me, and this was very sweet of him, that he likes going to meetings with me because I always outclass the other people in the room. So
That's
I thought that was very
cool.
sweet of him.
That's awesome. What is an idea that you think most people get wrong?
That government is against you. That government's not here to really try to help. And let me preface this: local government.
Mhm.
We fall victim to some of the opinions of our bigger government counterparts without really people understanding that we are the closest connection to providing you some essential basic services, and that most of the people that work in local government do it because they really want to help and they have a heart of service and they want to make the community better.
Interesting. I like that. I'm glad you expanded upon that, though.
Yeah, it wasn't a long answer.
Well, yeah. What's the best year of your life?
The year I married my husband,
Nice.
2011.
What's one question you wish I had asked you?
What would I do if I wasn't a city manager?
Oh, that's a great question. What would you be doing if you weren't a city manager?
What I really wanted to do was I wanted to move to New York and be on Broadway. But my parents shot that down very quickly because they didn't think that that was a good use of educational dollars.
I believe that 100%. So, if you want to be found, where could people find you?
3200 Diana Drive.
Okay.
That's the Richland Hills City Hall.
Perfect. And what are you reading? What do you since that's your
I know my
pleasure.
guilty pleasure.
What are you reading right now? What are you listening to?
I am reading a couple of books. I always usually have some sort of self-improvement leadership book because I think you can always improve. Any person can seek continual improvement, and I think that's important.
Can
But
you improve?
especially,
No. Oh, never lead with a no.
Yeah, never lead with a no. But especially leaders. So I'm reading Atomic Habits right now.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then I'm in a Kristen Hanna book. She is one of my favorite. I love historical fiction.
Okay.
And she is an amazing historical fiction writer. And so I'm reading one of her books right now.
Cool.
So yes.
Candice,
now I can't think of the name. It's the one set in Alaska, and I can't think of the name of it at the moment. The Great Alone. There we go. It came to me.
I keep talking about. Yes, this was fun.
Yes,
it was awesome. I appreciate you taking the time today, guys. As always, like, share, follow. And I say this every time, and I think this was it's more quintessential for this particular episode. I don't know if you ever caught the end of it, but basically, it's out there, it seems like, and you don't have to agree, you can disagree if you want. Out there, it seems like there's really just two type of people. Either A, they're idiots, or B, they're just uninformed. So at least right now, after listening to this, people can no longer say they're uninformed.
I hope so.
Right?
That is why I'm here, to inform.
Perfect.
Yes.
Providing someone just takes the time to ask.
Yes.
Right?
That's helpful.
That's all you got to do. Just ask. Again, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. You will learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design. I'm not kidding you. Another episode of Fueled by Spite. Candice, appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys have an awesome rest of your day. Catch you on the next one.